Security's tightening after the Parkland school tragedy.
This is just absolutely pure evil.
Brand new details this morning about the man behind the massacre.
And we knew this wasn't normal and there was something definitely sinister going on.
And we're learning what our school districts are doing to keep your students safe.
Breaking this morning, we now have the first confirmed victim of the Parkland school shooting. The school just tweeted this picture of assistant football coach Aaron Feis announcing he was one of the victims. The school says Feis shielded students and died a hero.
And right now we have team coverage on the deadliest school shooting since the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in 2012. Take a look. In South Florida, students ran for their lives, hands up, as they were running away from a gunman that killed 17 people.
It all happened at a high school in Parkland, which is right in Broward County on Florida's East Coast. You can see Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on the map. Wink News reporter Jessica Alpern is from that area. She's live outside the school this morning, hosing down homes and packing up. Families get out as a brush fire inches closer to their doors. Our team coverage takes you to the fire lines.
Attacked and stabbed. Right now, a deputy is in the hospital after shooting a Bokeelia man. Wake News is live at the hospital waiting for him to be released.
Millions for the Herbert Hoover Dike and helping one of our top moneymakers. We're breaking down the massive spending bill passed in the nick of time and how millions is coming to our state.
Live from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News This Morning.
Evacuations in effect this morning as a fast-moving fire gets way too close to homes, and the weather isn't going to make firefighters' jobs any easier today.
We have team coverage this morning, and we're going to start with meteorologist Matt Devitt. And Matt, while that dry weather may feel nice, it is not doing those crews any favors.
Bingo, and that's the reason why those fires have grown and expanded over the past 2 days.
Our team coverage continues right now from the front lines of those fires. Look at this. People in Golden Gate Estates had to use garden hoses to soak their homes as those flames moved closer.
And take a look. You can see this major fire that's prompting voluntary evacuations from Alligator Alley. You see the large flames in the night sky and all of the smoke. The large one is in the back, and in the front, it's another fire about 2 miles due south. And we mapped all of these out for you, and you can take a look here where I-75 basically hooks and turns into the alley just south of that, or where these two fires are located. Wake News reporter Jessica Alpern is live from the evacuation zone. We'll watch the moment Hurricane Florence blows out a transformer in Wilmington. You can see the large flash and then the lights flicker on and off. Right now, we're told at least 288,000 people are without power just in North Carolina alone.
And Florence is also causing a lot of damage. Look at this gas station canopy. It just toppled over from all the high winds. This was in Topsail, which is right near Wilmington. And Wink News has team coverage this morning. We have reporter Mola Lange, who is live from Wilmington as the system's getting closer and closer to him. And Mola, what kind of changes have you seen in the last few hours?
Well, guys, good morning. You know, wind gusts obviously picking up a lot. You know, in the first few hours we were here, we were seeing some wind gusts, but now it's it's much more consistent, much steadier. You're getting a good blast every now and then. But as you mentioned, you know, this wind is already causing a lot of damage throughout the state. Hundreds of thousands of people without power. Millions more are expected to lose power throughout the course of the storm. Some of those people, officials say, could be without power for weeks after the storm. We're seeing some downed trees, some downed structures, but you know, the wind is not as strong as we initially predicted that it would be. Still, that aside, it's the water that really has people concerned. The potential for a storm surge. We're already seeing that play out a little further north in New Bern, North Carolina, where they had about an 8 or 9 foot storm surge that resulted in some flooding, resulted in about 100 people, several hundred people, I should say, that needed to be quickly evacuated. Swift boat rescued. Same story in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Also a little further north here, a quick evacuation was needed because of some of the damage that they're already experiencing. So again, the potential for widespread flooding, the potential for torrential rain, torrential downpour, as well as the storm surges are really what have officials concerned at the moment, as well as the days and weeks ahead of us. Guys?
All right, Mola Lange reporting live from Wilmington. You can hear how intense that wind in his microphone. Mola, please stay safe out there for us. Thank you.
A North Fort Myers company wants to fill this 30,000 square foot warehouse, all with donations to help people after Hurricane Florence. They're working with the Red Cross and say what's really needed are cleaning items and toiletries. So the gates are already open at their North Fort Myers location. It's right here. It's on Bayline Drive, which is just off of Bay Shore and 41, you can see, and they're accepting donations through Sunday.
And there's another way you can help families prepare for the aftermath of Hurricane Florence. The Midwest Food Bank in Fort Myers is working with the Salvation Army to send 5 semi-trailers of food to feed families for up to 5 days. The food bank is asking for your donations to help cover the cost to transport the boxes to areas in need of relief.
Rick Scott's suing and calling for an investigation into fraud. All of this comes as his lead in the race for Senate is now shrinking. And President Trump tweeted in backing Scott, saying here, law enforcement is just looking into another big corruption scandal. Here's why Scott is suing.
Both Broward and Palm Beach counties have failed in their duty to follow Florida law, which requires that vote by mail and absentee ballots are counted within 30 minutes of polls closing.
So here's where the Senate race stands right now. Scott has a 15,000 vote lead on Bill Nelson. A spokesperson for Nelson has called this lawsuit politically motivated and born of desperation.
And there are 2 other big state races that are still too close to call this morning. For governor, Republican Ron DeSantis' lead on Andrew Gillum has shrunk a little bit. He leads now by only 36,000 votes. And take a look at this. The leader in the race for the Florida Commissioner of Agriculture has flipped as well. Now Nikki Fried is leading Fort Myers local Matt Caldwell. And the recounts for those races will be huge and expensive, a massive undertaking. Local officials are scrambling now to figure out the logistics of all of this.
Wink News begins with breaking news.
Breaking this morning, a portion of Alligator Alley is closed because of smoke from the big wildfires in Collier County. There's also several crashes there.
And we have team coverage for you this morning. We begin with Jessica Alpern, who is monitoring the alley right now from the traffic center. Jessica, where are the worst sections this morning? We're following all types of fires this morning. Take a look. This is a massive mulch fire that was burning in North Fort Myers. The good news is it's finally out this morning. Crews spent all day yesterday making sure all the hot spots didn't flare back up.
And take a look at this viewer drone video. It shows just the amount of fuel they had. This is on I-75, just north near Bay Shore Road. It took trucks, helicopters, and bulldozers to put out this fire. This also gives you an idea just how close this is all burning right near the interstate. And Wink News is committed to keeping you updated on all of these fires. If there are any other road closures that happen, we will alert you first right on the Wink News app. It's 6:44 and it's time for your Wink Wake Up. It's all you need to know before you go this morning.
Today, gun rights supporters are challenging calls for more regulation after the deadly school shooting in Parkland. Wink News reporter Jessica Alpern is live from Florida Gulf Coast University, where several groups are hosting events today. Jess.
That's right, Corey. So today's demonstration kicks off a week of Second Amendment events happening right here on the FGCU campus. And there are actually 2 groups that are working together to start a conversation here. But this second group is also calling for something else. They support the Second Amendment, but say they want changes made to help keep people safe. Now, at the top of the hour, we told you about the College Republicans group. Today, they'll wear empty gun holsters to spark a conversation on the Second Amendment. And later this week, they'll work alongside another group. Now, this group also supports the Second Amendment, but is calling for change. The Moms Demand Action Group has already met this week to talk about what they call common sense gun reform, because they say mass shootings like what happened in Parkland could have been avoided.
There's a lot of things that need to be happening to, reduce gun violence, like getting background checks on every single gun sale. And so part of the change is legislative, but it's also a cultural change as well.
So later this week, both of those groups will be holding a Second Amendment panel. That'll be happening right here at the Cohen Center, this building you see right here behind me at the FGCU campus on Thursday night. We're live on Florida Gulf Coast University. Jessica Alpern, Wink News now.
President Trump says a decision about possible action against Syria is imminent. This development follows a suspected chemical weapons attack over the weekend that killed dozens of Syrian civilians. The Syrian government has denied any involvement. And a year ago this month, more than 80 people were killed in a sarin attack in a different Syrian town, prompting the U.S. to launch Tomahawk missiles at a Syrian airbase.
And the president is speaking out against special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, calling it an attack on our country. The FBI FBI raided the New York home and office of the president's attorney, Michael Cohen. The evidence seized by federal investigators is all part of an investigation into possible campaign finance violations and included communications with the president.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is going to testify before Congress today about data privacy. Zuckerberg has already apologized to users, saying the company didn't do enough to prevent its tools from being used for harm. Last week, Zuckerberg acknowledged up to 87 million Facebook users likely had personal data accessed by a political consulting firm.
New this morning, the daughter of the ex-Russian spy poisoned in London was actually just released from the hospital. The 33-year-old woman was taken to a secure location. Her father, the target of the attack, is recovering, but more slowly. The British government says Russia was behind the nerve agent attack.
Today, we'll hear opening statements from Bill Cosby's attorney in his sexual assault retrial. This morning, we're learning he paid more than $3 million to settle a civil case with his accuser, Andrea Constan, back in 2006. Cosby faces assault charges for reportedly drugging and raping her in 2004. He's pleaded not guilty to those charges. His first case ended in a mistrial last year.
This man could spend 25 years behind bars in federal prison. Officials say Enrique Marquez Jr. bought 2 rifles that terrorists used in San Bernardino back in 2015. The U.S. Attorney's Office says even though he did not participate in the attack, he never notified authorities about Syed Farouk and his wife Tafshin Malik's plans. They opened fire on a gathering of San Bernardino County employees, killing 14 people, and they died later in a shootout with authorities.
Michigan wants to provide new services to children in Flint who are exposed to lead in their drinking water. The state will pay $4 million to test 30,000 children for developmental delays. The state is expected to make a decision on the agreement Thursday. If it passes, it would partly settle a lawsuit against the state and the city's school district.
Students in Oklahoma will stay home from school for a 7th day today as teachers continue their big walkout demanding more funding for public education. Thousands of teachers have traveled to the state capitol demanding that lawmakers take appropriate actions and appropriate more tax dollars for classroom needs. Many teachers walked for miles to get to Oklahoma City as they say they will not stop until they get what they and their students need.
Even though I am a first-year teacher, I really want the best for my kids. I mean, I put money and time into what I do. And by golly, I want my kids to be taken care of.
Initially, educators and support staff wanted a pay raise, but now the campaign has really evolved to include demands for $150 million in funding for newer teaching materials and to fix rundown buildings.
Thousands of former students will get refunds from Trump University. A judge finalized a $25 million class action settlement against the real estate school. Former students can get back up to 90% what they spent on classes. President Trump appeared in advertisements for the school saying he handpicked instructors, but he couldn't name one in a deposition. He agreed to settle the lawsuit a few days after he was elected president.
Well, this really should come as no surprise. Atlanta once again takes the top spot for the world's busiest airport. 104 million passengers passed through Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport last year. Atlanta's location is, of course, one of the reasons it continues to take the top spot. The city is within a 2-hour flight of 80% of the United States. Chances are you and I have both sat in that airport for many hours.
Yes, I have. Well, rock band Fleetwood Mac is looking for a new guitarist. The Rolling Stone reports Lindsey Buckingham was fired over a disagreement about the band's upcoming tour. Neil Finn of Crowded House and Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers have both been tapped to replace him. Fleetwood Mac has not confirmed any of the dates for the upcoming tour. A special tribute to Elton John is going to celebrate the musical icon's career. Lady Gaga and John Legend are among the stars who are going to be singing some of his biggest hits.
As I get older, I want my songs to get to younger people because I have a family now and I want them to inherit the songs. And I want my songs to last. So this is a great way of doing it.
And you can see that 2-hour special concert tonight right here on Wink.
Well, after months of dead fish littering our beaches, Collier County will spend $250,000 to try to bring back tourists. The new marketing campaign will go into effect once fish kills like this one end. That means people up north will start seeing ads on TV and on social media.
Deputies are reuniting with a baby they helped save. 1-week-old baby Audrey stopped breathing at this mall in Oregon. You can see right there. This happened last month. Well, when 3 deputies got there, she was pale and unresponsive, and there they are performing CPR. Well, those deputies finally got to meet Audrey this week. Her father says he wanted to take this picture so his daughter could one day see the men who saved her. She is still in the ICU, but her condition is improving every day.
Well, choosing where to retire is a big decision, and you should consider Fort Myers. It's one of the best places in the country to retire. That's according to a new list by U.S. News and World Report. Lancaster, Pennsylvania takes the top spot, but Fort Myers does come in second. Sarasota is at number 3. The rankings are based on factors like affordability, desirability, healthcare, and happiness. Lakeland rounds out the top 10.